Alright, how to assemble a shock. This is an axial shock, so it's a little bit different than like a Traxxas shock, but basically the same. First, let's assemble the shock shaft, which is this piece here. We gotta first put a C-clip on the bottom clip holder, and I just use a pair of needle nose pliers to secure it in there. Make sure it's in there nice and tight. There it goes. Second is the piston. You want to make sure all the debris or all the little notches from the parts tree are gone. So I just take an X-Acto knife and kind of shave it off. So it's nice and, well, that's still not, I'm not a superstar. There we go. Almost. I know I'm boring everybody with this. But you want to make sure it's clean, because if it's not, then you will end up with hang up in your shock, and you don't want that. You just want it nice and smooth. Then you stick it on the rod and get the top C-clip set in place on top in the top notch. Take your needle nose pliers and some guys have a C-clip tool or an E-clip tool, which work great too. I don't have one, but needle nose pliers works really good. Second is the body of the shock. We're going to put the adjuster on. This is the preload adjuster, and this is a threaded shock. Traxxas does not have a threaded shock, but you have your preloads. Still the same. Then, where did the piece go? I lost a piece. Oh, there it is. You have two basically rubber grommets kind of go in the bottom cap. You just want to kind of get them centered in there. And then a plastic one, and then another rubber one to seal it. Kind of put it in there. And as you tighten the bottom down, it kind of self-centers and gets it nice and tight in there and seals from the oil slipping. Next, you'll take your rod and stick it in through the hole in the bottom and just kind of push it in. It's a little tight. Of course, most jesters like it tight. You can feel the smoothness. Just nice and smooth. Then you take, I use vice grips and just something to protect my shaft. Always protect your shaft, always. Again, for smooth operation. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want it to churn while you put on your eye your eye piece to hold it together on the bottom. But you want to make it so that it's tight enough to hold it, but not so tight it leaves teeth marks. Small pair of vice grips work great. They just came out with a new tool that are rubber. But if something works, why break it? Takes a little fine adjusting. There we go. And take your rod end, get it on there. It's plastic, so it's not threaded in there. So you'll just turn it. I usually use something that will pass through. Wrench makes it a little bit easier than using your fingers. Get it down there tight. Then you're done with that. No marks on my shaft, and still moves freely. Next step is to put the O-ring in here. Kind of hard to see, but just use a small tool to kind of seat it down in there. Axial comes with fake reservoirs. They look a lot more realistic than just wish they were real. Just tighten them up. We got the cap done. Now I'll pick up my wife's soda. Now we will add oil. I'm using 30 weight, which is supplied with it. Different applications call for different weights, and that's kind of all up to you. You just kind of fill it. It's dark, so It's going to get all over. And let the piston push it out. It should be filled like, well, it's like 5/8 of the way. And you go ahead and you want to clean off as much as you can without spilling more. Then you put your lid on, your cap. Now make sure it's tight on there. Use a rag, clean off the extra excess that came out. You don't want to fill it to the top because they don't put too much pressure on the piston. You want to have some room for the piston and the oil to move, but nice and smooth, well lubricated. You want your shaft to move nice and smooth. Now, time for the springs. This is a dual spring setup, so you'll run smaller spring, retainer, and your larger spring, and then your spring cup fits right there, and there is a completed shock. Alright, well, thanks guys. 3 more to go.